helping you mine into your Christmas memories in a way that's super impactful, gets you, it's kind of a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
We're going to teach you a little game that you can do with your family here. But we really enjoyed putting this one together here.
It's a great way to connect with your family, and come and join us, and Merry Christmas.
It's our gift to you. All right. See you guys in there. Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
One of our gifts that we're going to give to you and ourselves. Happy holiday.
Oh, whoa, whoa.
Oh boy, it's not our singing, but we're going to give you a short podcast here today. And it's going to be focused on story. So we're doing a lot of work with story. And guys, like, we have an opportunity to create some amazing Christmas memories in front of us. But part of that also, part of the process is actually going back and finding those amazing Christmas memories that are already there and being very intentional about bringing those forward. So if you want an opportunity to share some Christmas memories with your family, you know, crack out the Werther's Originals, give some butterscotch candies and sit on grandpa or grandma's lap and tell some old stories. We're going to give you here a kind of a little exercise that can help you mine into your past and find these amazing stories, maybe some that you've even forgotten about your Christmas paths.
Yeah, it was fun. Actually, I went through this exercise, so we're going to share ours. But you definitely do it with your family too. This is kind of a fun little exercise to do with your family. But I'm going to share with you, we're going to share with you ours, but it was cool, like thinking back, like, oh, what was that? I don't even remember. I do not have the best memory. And so if you're like me, this is actually a really good maybe lesson or training for your memory as well. So
I love this. So again, giving credit where credit's due. I got this exercise from Matthew Dix in his book Story Cell. All right. So he wrote that book Storyworthy, which you've heard me talk about a lot. So Story Cell is a great one. And so it's almost like a little bit of an improv exercise. Yeah. So it's fun. You can do this around the dinner table. You can do this kind of sitting around the fireplace, you know, while you're roasting chestnuts and doing all kinds of Christmas stuff here. But it's called First, Last, Best, Worst. All right. First, last, best, worst. So what happens with this game is we give you a prompt, and then you think of the first time you experienced that, the last time, the best time, or the worst time. All right. So say, for example, we say stocking stuffer. That's the prompt. And so it's like,
what's the first one you remember?
The first one you remember, the last one that you remember, you know, last shaving cream or something like that. The best one, the worst one. And, you can do a number of different prompts. We're going to go through a number of different Christmas prompts. And if you find where there's a common thing that keeps popping up in your first, best, last, best, worst, there may be a good story potential that's being revealed there that can bring all those different elements together. So it's a lot of fun. Ready to go? Yeah, let's do it. Okay. All right. So let's create some cool Christmas memories. Break out the butterscotch. Christmas gift. Prompt number 1. The first one I ever received, or first one I remember receiving. Yeah. I remember my dad made us a Barbie house, like made it like from scratch, like put the wood, and then he put like little siding on it, and it was like on wheels. This thing was massive too. We have a picture of it, of us receiving it. I think I was 3, so we were still living on like Miller Ave. And it was like the best. I remember that like almost like it was yesterday. I'm wondering, is it because I like saw pictures of it, but I remember receiving it. Yeah. So no, it's probably the picture has certainly a way of jogging. I go back to a picture myself, my first one that I can remember. For some reason, I was kind of older at this point, but like I remember a scooter, like a yellow scooter. Yeah. You know? That was just kind of stuck in your mind. Yeah. Just stuck in my mind, like a picture of me on the back porch with my yellow scooter and just being able to scoot around town. Nice. That was cool. All right. What was the last one? Mine was a rowing machine. Yeah. Which I got yours early. That was my Christmas gift that I got a few weeks ago here. So, but you wanted it for a while. I mean, we wanted a rowing machine here. Yeah, I did. There's so many different, when I was in CrossFit, there's so many different workouts that you can integrate that rower in there. And it's just, I'm finding the running is just beating up my legs a little bit more. And so I'm stoked, but the rowing machine is also revealing how weak my lower back is right now. And so I'm like,
oh, it's on its way. It's getting better.
Alrighty.
I would say my bike, this is kind of like an ongoing story. So like last Christmas, I received a bike and it was like kind of cheap. It was just, it wasn't because it was cheap. I picked it out. I was like, dear, this is fine. And it like stopped working.
It's for sale on Facebook Marketplace right now. So let's not tell people it stopped working.
It didn't stop working. Actually, it worked, but it just has like this weird sound. Anyway.
It's got a broken bearing. But
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So that's the official thing. And so then Matt, you got me actually a really nice bike, a 3G, like cruiser.
Oh, it's so good.
For my birthday. But it was like the completion of a Christmas gift. So
that was awesome. And so why is
that the redemption?
Why was that? Why was it so important for you?
Oh, I just love my bike. I love riding my bike. There's like something about like moving fast, but also kind of being like relaxed, but still moving, like still putting a little bit of effort in. I like bike riding so much more than walking. I still like walking, but I think it's like you cover more ground. There's something about my activator that like really loves that. And like, it feels like breezy. I don't know. And it's so easy to ride bikes here. There's like bike trails. It's
like your happy place, though.
Everything is flat. Yeah.
You are so in your happy place. And it's like, and I actually enjoy when you come to me at the end of the day, you're like, hey, you mind if I go on a bike ride? Because I see an ROI, a return on the investment, because it wasn't a cheap bike that we got. But it's also like, I know you're going to be a better person entering into those ideal conditions, on the back end.
It's kind of playful. Yeah.
All right. So now we're on the best. Okay. So best was the book Storyworthy.
Best Christmas gift.
Christmas gift was when you got me that book. And I don't necessarily know if you knew how much I was going to enjoy it and the story elements of it, but it just changed the way that I relate to the world, and I see things connected into a deeper plot. I bring it into my coaching. We bring it into our podcasting. I bring it into the way that I read books or watch movies. You can just mine for the the big impact moments and understand them in a very integrated way. So Matthew Dix, I love you for saying yes to the charism that God has given to you. And I pray that one day you come fully into the church.
Yeah, this one was kind of hard for me, best. Last year going to Anna Maria Island. Was that a gift? Was that a Christmas gift?
It was a gift that we gave to our mom and dad.
Okay.
It's a little bit.
But it was kind of us too, because we paid for ourselves as well.
It's a little bit of a Peter and the Wolf gift, which my family calls. my mother, when she was a kid, she got my grandfather a record of the soundtrack of Peter and the Wolf, and my grandfather was like, thank you for this, but it's kind of nice to get gifts for people that they want, not what you want.
Which brings me to the final one. No, I'm just kidding.
The worst? Oh boy. Okay.
So your worst is undershirts.
Yes, that was the Christmas where all I had to unwrap under the tree was undershirts.
Yeah, mine was a San Damiano. It's
San Damiano cross.
Yeah. But
that's your worst Christmas gift?
Here,
terrible.
Listen. Okay, it's not the cross itself. I love those crosses.
Here we go. All right.
And I remember I kept asking Matt, can you get me one of these crosses? And here we are. We're at his parents' house. It was, I think, when they were living in...
They were in Ohio.
And we were both... I don't know what we were doing, but we were both going through like some of their old stuff. And you go, here's a cross, and just gives it to me. It was one of those crosses, and I was like, "You are fired." It was like actually one of our early, like I think it was our first Christmas.
We were in full-time ministry at that point.
Let me finish the story.
It was a little bit tight.
Let me finish the story. It was one of our first Christmases, because I remember being like, "How have you just like not thought about? Like I've told you all these things that I keep wanting, and you're like." Here, I don't know. It was the message that was behind it. I don't even know if I took the cross home. I think I did.
We we got a 50% pay cut right before that Christmas when we
that doesn't justify it. I still bought you presents. I still thought about what you wanted. So it was the story behind it.
Glad I got to be part of your worst Christmas gift of the year.
Listen to him trying to, you were totally trying to justify this.
No,
but you were also hiding your face in shame like 5 minutes ago. So
yeah, it's such a cringy story.
Yes, it is
I
cringe.
look back.
Yep.
But I got you your bike. That was your best.
It was.
Right?
It was really great.
Cool. All right.
Totally redeemed
Mended.
yourself.
All right. So like, see here, we just went through one little prompt exercise, but look at the stories that came up. Some were funny. Some were just like, well, let's just leave that one behind.
Why is it beneficial for people to like notice stories coming up? Can you give it to me briefly?
Well, I think the way that we look at our past affects the way that we look at our future.
It's a lens.
And also how we enter into relationship and how we carry on culture primarily is through stories, right? So it's good to have stories. And if anybody who's got kids, your kids love stories. And a lot of the time, I can speak for my own kid. She loves hearing stories about my life and my past. And I recognize doing this work, I recognize how much the Lord is working in my life to author an amazing story, but just how many little silly things that ordinarily I wouldn't celebrate or give a whole lot of attention to. They're actually, small chapters and part of a greater story. And they have so much more meaning for me now when I go back and I look at them now versus, in the moment.
Well, I think the fact that you remember them shows the significance. So like there's like a significance of the memory itself too.
Well, so there's some things here that even as I went through this this work, I hadn't been thinking of these things for a very long time.
Right.
They were, I was, so you're really starting to mine for some things that are good stories. Okay. Christmas Sweet, next story prompt.
Christmas Sweet.
First one.
Mom used to, like, the one that I can like remember, my mom used to make a birthday cake for Jesus.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, it was his birthday.
Saint Joni.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grandma's chocolate chip cookies, very generic, but I remember them because they're amazing.
They were good.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Last.
I think it was like probably last Christmas Sweet, it was like some type of keto bark, like where you melt chocolate, like keto, like, the Lily's chocolate chips. And then you put like some nuts in it and then like some peanut butter and then you let it freeze and then you break it up like that, or keto cheesecake, something keto, still sweet, but doesn't spike my blood sugar.
Yeah.
So.
Keto cheesecake. That's kind of my last one here too. All right. Best. Let's get beyond the boring stuff. Let's get into the fun stuff. The best Christmas sweet. Grandma's Christmas crack. All right. It's a crackle. So we called it the Christmas crack. Just as it had this.
You can't eat just one.
It was this sweet brown sugar, macadamia nuts, crumbly. We used to have a Christmas cookie, like competition every year at my previous at Benetech.
Yeah, it was serious. People took it really seriously.
You would win like $100.
Yeah.
If it was so good. So they'd had like for the best tasting, for the most creative one. And I would always go for the best tasting. I'm very much like a form over function or function over form kind of guy. And Christmas crack won the year that I did it. I won.
It's the best.
That was amazing.
Yes, it's very good.
Very special.
Worst.
So Christmas crack is your best also?
Oh yeah, same. Did you see how I wrote that? Was like, same.
I might have to bring that back. Like there's a part of me that's just like, I can't handle it anymore.
No, I would be like in a sugar coma like for the whole next day. So if we could figure out maybe a keto way, I think we could.
I think we can just have it the old fashioned way and just make a small one and give the rest away. I
think you should make it and then I should make the keto version and then we'll do a blind taste test and see if like people can tell.
I think there's some things that are just not meant to be keto.
You don't know. You don't know that.
So like I think an amazing sweet also is like going back when we had the Smith's pies, the strawberry rhubarb.
Yes.
We had those like years ago.
But that wasn't really Christmas.
No, it wasn't. But it was like
it was like summer.
The story behind it is like the store that sold them went out of business. That we would go to get them, and I was like, oh, it's like years went by and I hadn't found it until we stumbled into this little general store, and I immediately saw the boxes and I knew what they were, and there were dozens of them, and I found the strawberry rhubarb. I was like, I wonder if this is going to be as good. It was better. It was better than memory. So, okay, worst store ready bake sugar cookies.
Yeah.
The ones that like they don't even hold the shape of the Christmas cookie stamp. Mm-hmm. They kind of they just melt into like they start out as a gingerbread man. They just melt into like a big fat star.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, those are the worst.
I forget what the name of this is, and I don't know if it's right. Fruit bread, like what's the loaf that everybody makes, and it's got the little chunks of like.
Oh gosh, what is it?
Fruit loaf?
Cake.
Fruit cake. Fruit loaf.
You're a fruit cake.
Fruit cake. Yes. So, why did anyone ever invent that? You're fired. Okay. Next.
All right. Christmas tree. First Christmas tree. I remember cutting down a Christmas tree and going out with the Pine family. Actually, it was before Greg was born.
They were cutting out down Greg. Pines with the pines.
I know it's so ironic. As I was writing it down, I was like, "We're cutting down Christmas trees with the pines." But we have an old video, like from like the old where you hear like the of the camera, like in the background. Whoa. I know it was like
whose camera was that?
This thing was. Maybe that, but it was an old video, and Uncle Barry just going around with Auntie. It was just funny. Anyways, so yeah, that was Christmas tree, best one.
It was the same too. I remember like the Griswold, like that whole thing where you like drive forever and then you walk forever to go get a tree. We did the same thing. It was like with my dad and Rocky. Mm-hmm. And his friend growing up, like his whole life. And we would all go, all the kids would go, and we'd be like so cold. And like, why? Who? But
so your dad tells a story about when the tree that fell off the car.
No.
Rock had a tree that fell off the car.
I don't know that story.
But it dragged behind the car.
Oh my
God. So by the time they got there, there was a whole side of the tree that was just bald. And he just put it in the corner. Like that was the solution.
My dad?
No, it was Rock's.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Well, there you go.
Okay. Last tree that we've got. Our fig tree that we got from Costco. It's sitting there.
But it has to be completed with the balsam Christmas candle that your mom gets.
Well, yeah, that makes it
feel
like palatable. Like we can actually tolerate it. Because this is also my worst tree.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like when we went into, there's a part of my soul that died when we went into buying, like just having a fig tree to put up every year.
It does make it a lot easier, but I mean, you just miss that. I don't know. They used to sell them at Publix, but I've not seen any in like the last 5 years.
I went to the Italian American place here in Naples to get one. They were like $200 for like Charlie Brown looking trees. I was like, forget it. Like I can't do this in Florida anymore. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Costco. Thank you for that.
Best.
But just, that was kind of like best. Okay. This is amazing. Yep. So we just it was family. We were living out in Buffalo, had this lake effect snow that came in as we were going out for this tree, and it was coming down so hard. And we didn't drive very far from our house, maybe like 2 miles or so from our house to get this tree. And for some reason, we had this Mercury Villager, that was the van. Mm-hmm. We put it up on the roof of the car. For some reason, we didn't tie it down. My dad's is like, I will just hang out of the open sliding door. We'll go very slow because we have to go slow because it's snowing like crazy. And I'll just hang out for 2 miles and hold on to this tree. And I remember his face was like falling off and we were just laughing because it was so cold. We were laughing the whole way home. We got a picture out in front of the car with the tree on it. And just like, we were just all wearing all this funny warm gear, just trying to stay warm. It was a really special one.
Yeah.
It was the best tree.
The best. We got one it was like a tree lot when we were living in New York at our Berkshire house.
Yep.
And it was like the perfect size because that house had a lofted like ceiling. So you could get like any size tree.
Yes.
And this thing was pretty big. I mean, it was probably our biggest that we've ever had. And they delivered it, which was like cool because I'm probably scarred from going out and freezing my butt off for looking for trees.
Anyways, there we go. Okay.
Worst.
So worst. I already said the worst was just the fact that we have this.
A fake tree?
We have a fake tree.
Okay.
It's the best and it's like great now, but it's also the worst.
I know, actually.
Balsam Christmas candle.
I would say, I think it was like the first year we moved here and there were real trees. Maybe it was when we were with your parents. We may have been staying with them, but it went so fast. And I think after that we were like, let's do. Am I making that up?
You're making that up completely.
Okay.
Yeah, we've never had a real tree.
Maybe it was just I was like looking at the trees outside of Publix. I'm like, those look burnt. I'm like, I don't want one of those.
We have some that they're old. I mean, because they cut these things down and they leave them on the back of the truck months in advance.
Yeah.
Like and so these suckers are dry. Up in New York, you go into our the woods next to our house. There was like a Christmas tree graveyard that's back there. Like all the corpses of like old Christmas trees are back there. They're with their friends. They're with their family. Okay.
Surrounded by the ones they love.
Yes. Christmas song. Next prompt. I can't really think of first Christmas song, but like I always remember the Narada Christmas album that my parents would play, which was like kind of a very like flutes and Yanni kind of sounds to it, you know, but it's still
is that the worst too?
No, I'll get to the worst.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
I'll get to the worst here in a second. All right.
My first, I actually didn't even know it was a Christmas song. My mom used to sing it to me before I would go to sleep at like all times of year. You know, I didn't know it was a Christmas song. It was Silent Night. And she would sing it to me as I would be falling asleep. And I remember singing it like at school. And one of my friends was like, that's a Christmas song. And it was like May.
You're like,
and I was
shut
like,
up.
No, it's not. It's a nighttime song. Silent Night. I never really listened to the words, I guess. So that was it.
Yeah. Okay. So last song. Well, the two of us just listened to this song, which is also the worst song.
Yes.
I told Erin, like, this is the worst song. She's like, I've never heard that song. I was like, you're about to. So the last song and the worst song. All right. Bing Crosby's Christmas Dinner Country Style.
We dare you to go listen.
I dare you to go listen to this thing. It's bad.
Yeah. And then try to like it. That's another challenge. Double challenge. Go listen and try to like it.
Well, I think it's one of those songs where if you continue to listen to it, it would grow on you and you'd actually like it, but you'd actually lose a bit of your sanity in the process.
Yeah.
It's just like, dun, 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 blow my brains out. Boom, boom. Okay.
The best
song. Oh, gosh.
There's so many good ones. But Oh Holy Night, probably one of my favorites, I'd say.
But by who? By who?
You know what I'm going to say.
Mariah Carey?
Yeah.
She's pretty good.
That's a good one. That's a good rendition of it.
I love Josh Groban's.
Oh Holy Night.
Yep. Yeah. My favorite, I think, is got to be Handel's Messiah, which is like a whole symphony. But that was just, I sang that in college when I was in the Naval Academy Glee Club. We would do it every single year in our chapel, which had just amazing acoustics. And when we would sing that great amen at the very end, worthy is the Lamb, I mean, hold that note and everybody like, oh, and it was just, oh man, I could sit in that note forever. It was a glimpse of heaven. Like that's my absolute favorite. I get to go there every time I listen to it.
Which I'm not going this year.
And Erin's like, we're not going. I fell asleep last year. I was
no, like, you can go. You can go.
I know. I'm
not saying you don't. Like, yes,
that's fine.
Please do not blame this on me.
I'm not blaming it on you.
It was so hard for me to stay awake. And this is partially because I wake up at like 4:30 in the morning. But I was like, and it started at like 8. And I was like,
all right, it's okay.
It was very beautiful.
We'll just listen to Bing Crosby's Christmas Dinner Country Style.
That would keep me awake, though.
Somebody came up to me once and had the nerve to say that the worst Christmas song ever was Bruce Springsteen's Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Dummies.
And as somebody who grew up a mile and a half away from the Stone Pony where the boss got his start, right? As a Jersey native.
Did you slap him?
I almost threw him in a lake. Next, Christmas movies. The first.
Oh, the first. I don't know what my first one. It was the one with
the Christmas Angel.
Yeah,
Miracle. Yeah.
What was that called? It was the Miracle.
It's like a Christmas Miracle, I think.
The Christmas Miracle. Yes, that's the first one I remember. That one, and then there was another one. They're both so like rare. Most people have never heard of most of them. But there was this one of this kid in Australia, and he had like a little baby dingo.
Didn't see this one.
It was Disney.
Stumped.
It was from Disney, and
it was a cartoon?
like, and Father
person?
Christmas. No, it was real, and I'll never forget. It was like burned into my brain.
Oh man,
I don't know what the name of it.
This sounds like one of those peanut butter experiment.
I know it was. It was something like really basic, like a Christmas in Australia or something. I don't know.
Awesome. Okay, Charlie Brown Christmas. That's me. I know, very cliche, but that's like where I go every year. And it's funny. My roommate Nick from college was like, he said I would send him all kinds of comics.
He
just to
loathes the peanuts.
Loathes the peanuts. Every time he's like, it's so unfunny. Nothing they say is funny.
It's true. It really isn't that funny. It's kind of depressing a little bit.
It's a different type of humor, not mine. No, I don't think. And Charles Schultz, I think it's just Charles Schultz's own little humor. That's it.
Maybe it's a little bit. Who's the writer that does Seinfeld? The Curb Your Enthusiasm. That guy.
Oh, Larry David.
Maybe it's a little Larry David.
Little Jewish humor.
Well, no, it's more like it's all in the tone, and the tone delivery is just not. It's not articulated in the comics. It
doesn't come out in the comic strip.
I guess.
Well, then bad mode of
that's right.
Delivering your Larry David humor. Okay, so Charlie Brown Christmas, love it. Last one.
We just tried watching The Christmas Candle last night. It was like a BBC thing, and neither one of us were watching it. We were both shopping for Christmas on our phones.
Yeah, so it was Susan Doyle's debut, right? Remember, she was the one that was like on Britain's Got Talent, and she just crushed it with singing "On My Own," right?
From Les Mis. Got Talent. I thought it was American Idol. I think it was American Idol.
I don't know. I don't think it was that.
I think it was.
Maybe it was.
Look it up, guys. Let us know.
But I remember
comment below.
She was just like, and even Simon Cowell was like, oh, what shock. But she was in it, and I think that was her
and that's
debut,
all I remember.
And that's it. I think they were just like, okay, beginning, last.
So
okay.
I think officially that was the last one that we watched. Oh wait, no, we watched one. Oh, Little Drummer Boy.
Little Drummer Boy was last
and then
night,
Little
too.
One.
Small one.
That's it.
Small one was a Don Bluth. So Don Bluth did some amazing cartoons in the 80s and early 90s, right? Did Land Before Time, did Fievel, American Tail, All Dogs Go to Heaven, right? And so it was like one of the other cartoon movie makers that was not Disney, but like still crushing it with movies. And this little short one, small one, which is a story about this little boy who's got to give away an old donkey, like and
really sweet.
Very tender. And St. Joseph buys his donkey.
I know. I almost cried, actually. Gosh. And then Avila was really scared of like the Tanner part. Anyway, if you have a sensitive child, you might want to watch that one beforehand.
Audit that one, but it's good. All right. So let's go best.
Best Christmas movie.
Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life.
I know you have a tough time watching it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And
so many different sobby moments.
It's so hard to watch. My sanguine heart can't take it. It's like, just give me like something funny. So
like Just Friends.
Just Friends. I'm a big fan of Just Friends. It's not really a Christmas movie, but it takes place in Christmas time. Yeah. Very funny. Scrooged. I love Bill Murray. And I think that is like one of the funniest versions of Scrooge, that story. But I do love that story of Scrooge. It's such a story of like redemption and the power of perspective, of like seeing your life from different angles, and also the power of repentance. I don't know. I love that whole story of Scrooge.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a redemption story. Definitely. Yeah. Okay. Worst. Okay.
I don't know. I
said it was Jack Frost. Some of you guys might be a little upset about that. It's more of a winter movie, but somehow it's made its way into like the Christmas, area.
Yeah.
But
that might be mine too. I don't really know if I'm like
stop action, whatever they call it, stop action films. They're just a little claymation kind of stuff. This is like
a little creepy.
Yeah.
But I do like some of them too. Like, but I mean, guys, have you guys ever watched like Rudolph and like gone back to him? Like, dang, that little guy pulls all that guy's teeth out. It's like, whoa, they weren't messing around.
Does it pretty doggone quick too.
I know.
After squealing like a piggy. I'm not a fan of The Holiday either.
Yeah.
I don't like it. My dad likes it. Dad likes it. I don't like it. It lost me when what's his name? Who's when it was Jack Black. So Jack Black was like playing it straight, which is like, what are you doing, Jack Black? And then Jude Law, when it was so when he was
remember that.
I just remember it being so cheesy, where it's like talks about how he never cries and stuff like that, and then like who's his lady leaves and she like comes back, she forgets something.
Kate Winslet.
And he's the other one, blonde.
I don't know. Forget what her name is.
Ah, jeez. Why am I drawing the blank?
We could see her in our
Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
And she sees him crying, and it suddenly reveals his love for her. And I was just like, oh my goodness, it's so cliche. I can't take it.
So is it the whole movie or just that part?
That one. No, okay. The one part ruined the whole movie.
Okay.
It's just like, I have no desire to see this anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like, we can always go to those Hallmark movies. It's so formulaic. You know what it's like. Yeah. It's like there's a widower and then there's somebody who comes from the big city girl. And, you know, it's... but
she's got a father with
but they still make me feel so good, you know? A widower. It's like ties it up with a bow at the end of it.
Incredible decorating skills. Yeah. Okay, let's do our final prompt here, guys, and have fun with this one. All right. So Christmas morning. First Christmas morning. I mean, I just think of it being in New Jersey and how my parents, there'd be one gift that they would hide. You know, and that was just,
oh, that's cool.
That was, yeah, it started out where there just like was a gift that couldn't fit under the tree. It was like a you know, a bike or something like that.
Mom be shopping.
And then it was, and then it was just like, let's just do this every year. Like, we have our big gift that you hide somewhere in the house. And so that was,
and we did that with Avila, actually.
We do
a couple of times.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. First one I remember obviously is Troy. It was with the Barbie house, Troy, New York, Miller Ave.
Yeah, last Christmas morning here in Ave Maria. But let's jump over to the best. All right, because I think my best Christmas morning was I think for me it was pre-COVID 2019. All right, so it was a white Christmas. It was Avila was born. She was a little over 1. Mom was still here. Grandma Marge was still here. And so it was the last time that we really had, you know, the went over to Danny's house on Christmas Eve.
Yep.
Got like
COVID.
Great picture. It was just a very kind of special Christmas, right? And that was all I can say about it. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue with that. That was a great one. I also liked when we were dating. And I don't know if it was a Christmas morning though, but it was when I was living in California, but like we flew back and you were up in Buffalo with Shannon and the family. And then, but I don't think that was Christmas morning, but it was like that time.
It was right before Christmas and you couldn't afford to fly out and I helped pay for your ticket.
I was Poe.
She was in the Poe house.
I wasn't even poor. It was like Poe.
But also there was a storm, so you couldn't fly into Albany.
Oh yeah.
And so you had to fly. You had to land in Buffalo, and then I picked you up and I drove you to Syracuse. And Dad met us halfway. That was the first time I met your father.
Oh yeah.
And then after Christmas, that's when I came out, and Jay and Trish were still living at the house. I slept on the couch downstairs, and we did New Year's in New York City.
Yep. Yes. That was cool.
Oh, that was so fun.
That was a fun year.
That was great.
And then the worst. What was the worst one? This is kind of, I wish we ended on the best.
Yeah, I know. But it was COVID 2020. So
no, it was
2020 COVID. Yes.
It was 2021. Oh, no, yes.
We didn't get COVID, but your parents got COVID. And so we couldn't get together with them. We were getting ready to drive down here from New York to Albany. And so the Christmas morning, we were in urgent care getting COVID tests. All the three of us getting COVID tests. So when we got in the car 2 days later to come down and stay with my parents and my 96-year-old grandma at the time,
we wouldn't contaminate.
Yeah.
Yep. It's funny because I was reflecting on this and I was like, so the year my mom passed away, later that year, I was sick for every holiday. Do you remember that? I was like sick for Thanksgiving, sick for Christmas, and then sick for New Year's. It was just like, what is going on? And then Easter too. Remember we all got the stomach bug? But then like, was it last year, right after Christmas Eve, you and I both got like violently ill too. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was. No, I don't think it was last. I don't know.
Yes, it was.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah. So the last couple of Christmases, it was like 2022.
Oh yeah, because we had to cancel my 40th birthday.
And then 2021, we all had COVID.
Yes.
And then the year before that, my whole family had COVID.
Yeah.
So it's just,
and I lost my taste and I couldn't taste the delicious Christmas food.
Yes. So it was like, man, all right, guys,
Silly
root
stuff.
for us. Root for us. We're going to have a good one this year. No sickness.
All right, let's put a nice little bow on this episode. So here's a takeaway. When you get intentional about your stories, you get intentional about your memories. Mm-hmm. All right. And the adventures that you go on, the adventures you get to take people on. When you tell stories, not only do you stories have a way of transporting you to a different place and time, and you feel it, like your body actually changes as you reflect on these things, but you bring other people with you, right? And so the stories that we tell can take people to a great place, a beautiful memory, a fun memory, like we were kind of doing today, or it can take you to a place where it's just like dark and boring and crazy. Yeah. And you get to choose the lens as you look at your stories.
Yeah. So also be intentional with the words you use and just the way you tell your stories.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, have a wonderful Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We'll be praying for you guys. Pray for us, and we'll see you on the other side.
Cool. Hey, thanks for sticking with us in the Catholic Coaching Podcast. If you like what you heard,
please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again.